So the moment the White House Correspondent Dinner suspect was apprehended, he ran, across law enforcement agents, and I think they pulled the trigger, and they were all over him. I think he fired some shots. The report has that he fired some shots to Secret Service agent. Look at him here, and because the Secret Service agent was wearing a vest, he was not injured. This is the situation in the room where President Donald J. Trump was sitting. We were discussing, everything was normal until Secret Service agents, law enforcement agents started running inside the room. Just moment after this man spoke to President Donald J. Trump and gave him this paper, possibly to read something, the whole scene changed. Everything changed. It was just like a drama. So here is the moment. Here is the moment. So one Secret Service agent ran towards President Trump. You have to protect the president. And then everyone in the room got to know of the chaos. The suspect's name is called Tomas Allen. He was apprehended after he was almost trying to maybe assassinate Trump. That's what we believe. This report has it that he was armed with shotgun, handgun, and multiple knives. I think this is the hotel. Security agents were searching throughout the hotel to see if it was a coordinated attack, but they found out that he was just a lone attacker. Like I'm thinking, how do you think that you could just come and beat American Secret Service, American law enforcement agents, maybe to assassinate a president? It can't happen. This is the moment they evacuated the Vice President J.D. Vance. It was just like a Nollywood blockbuster movie, but this is what happened in real time. So security agents continue to, search the hotel, searching for the hotel, and they were evacuating guests.
Look out!
So guests are being evacuated here.
Everybody stay down, stay down. We got one down. In there. Open the double doors. What the? Oh my God.
I don't know. They haven't
Stay down, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, stay down.
So newsmen, pressmen are still capturing the moment. It's not easy to be a press man, a press woman. It's not really easy. These are more footages from what really happened. I mean, it's quite unfortunate. Really unfortunate.
Where's it coming from? Dr. Crossfire! Look out!
Bro, somebody go.
Well, I don't understand the mission of the man standing. I don't know his position anyway. So how could he be standing? You are not with any ammunition. I mean, I don't think he belongs to the men in the armed forces, law enforcement agents rather. So he's just standing and taking shots.
Oh my God! Stay down, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, stay down. Where's that at? Inside, they're not inside.
Nobody comes in here.
Katie, do you have all your stuff?
I'm fine.
This is crazy.
Go to your right. Go to your right. Push out back there.
Well, thank you very much. That was very unexpected, but incredibly acted upon by Secret Service and law enforcement. And this was an event dedicated to freedom of speech that was supposed to bring together members of both parties with members of the press. And in a certain way it did, because the fact that they just unified, I saw a room that was just totally unified. It was in one way very beautiful, a very beautiful thing to see. A man charged a security checkpoint armed with multiple weapons, and he was taken down by some very brave members of Secret Service, and they acted very quickly and have just released, for purposes of transparency, clarity, I've ordered it to be put out. You probably have it by now, put out on Truth and put out on many other platforms. A tape showing the violence of this thug that attacked our Constitution, and also showing how quickly Secret Service and law enforcement acted on our country's behalf. Really did a great job. One officer was shot, but saved by the fact that he was wearing obviously a very good bulletproof vest. He was shot from very close distance with a very powerful gun, and the vest did the job. I just spoke to the officer, and he's doing great. He's in great shape. He is has very high spirits, and we told him We love him and respect him, and he's a very proud guy. He's very proud of what he does, Secret Service agent.
Very much, Mr. President. Tonight you saw the very worst and the very best of this country. You saw the very worst by the actions of that coward that the President just talked about. But you also saw the very best because you saw law enforcement do exactly what they're supposed to do. And you'll see the videos come out, I expect, very shortly, and you'll see law enforcement do exactly what we want them to do. And so I echo what what President Trump just said, that we are extraordinarily grateful and appreciative of the men and women of law enforcement that did their jobs tonight, including one who was injured. This investigation is ongoing. I expect you will see charges filed shortly. The charges should be self-evident given the conduct, but as you'll hear, there will be multiple charges surrounding the shooting, around the possession of firearms, and anything else that we can get on this guy. The investigation is obviously ongoing and just started. There's federal law enforcement already working on search warrants and doing their job, and I don't want to get ahead of them and don't want to get ahead of the work that they're doing even as we speak. Director Patel and I were just on the crime scene a short while ago, and everybody in this room should rest assured that the Metropolitan Police Department, the FBI, Secret Service, everybody's on the scene doing their job. I know that the police chief is going to give an update from the scene as soon as we're finished here, and I obviously will lead the details of what they have learned to him. But in the meantime, I just want to thank everybody in this room for the courage, and I want to thank President Trump for his words, and I promise you, justice will be served. Thank you.
An individual charged a U.S. Secret Service checkpoint here in the lobby area of the hotel. He was armed with a shotgun, a handgun, and multiple knives. As he ran through that checkpoint, members of law enforcement from the United States Secret Service intercepted that individual. This is a very preliminary investigation at this point. We do know that law enforcement exchanged gunfire with the individual. We do know that a U.S. Secret Service uniformed division officer was struck in his vest. He was transported to a local hospital for treatment. He seems to be in good spirits at this time. The suspect in this case, he was not struck by gunfire. However, he was transported to a local hospital to be evaluated. Again, we're very early in the investigation. We have members of the United States Secret Service, the Metropolitan Police Department, and the FBI here to continue to investigate this matter. But at this point, it does appear he is a lone actor, a lone gunman. There does not appear to be any sort of danger to the public at this time.
This is the kind of violence that we end up with when we engage in those kinds of policies. And I'm asking the legislature to go back and look at the laws. In fact, people that go into common places and decide to engage in that kind of violence, we should put them away for life. I'm done with them. It doesn't matter how old they are. Somebody has failed. It's not the government's job to raise these people. It's common sense not to go into a public space with a gun and start shooting around blindly. We got 18,000 acres at Angola. If it's up to me, I'd send them all there for the rest of their lives. Next.
General, thank you, Mr. President. The President's absolutely right. You saw the best resolve of American law enforcement because you, Mr. President, inspire them 24/7, 365. You give them the resources that they need, and they know that you have their back. And that is a changing dynamic in this country, and that's why you saw brave Secret Service agents respond immediately, swiftly, subdue and take down the suspect, and safeguard the lives of thousands of individuals at that hotel.